This week on This Week in Blernsball. Ben, what the hell happened to you? Are you all right?
Hey, get out of here! Whoa, sorry about that. I mean, who's that guy? Welcome to This Week in Blernsball. Heroes don't do drugs, except for Drug Man, I guess. I am your co-host, Ben Bloom. With me, as always, co-host and executive producer, Jacob Morris. We are back from our impromptu 2-week hiatus to commemorate American turkey and football watching. But we're back, and we've got stuff to say.
We've got lots of stuff to say. Now, I'd like to begin with some remarks against the government.
Which government?
All of the governments.
Every single one of them. Even Lisa?
Yes, even Lisa.
All right, so we have a lot to get through. I think the most pressing for both of us was when I think it's safe to say both of our hopes got way too high and then crashed way too low over the Skydome saga that unfolded over the better part of last week.
Yeah, so this was, as a Jays fan, huge news. There are reports that Rogers and Brookfield, which is a big real estate developer in the Toronto area, are going to tear down and replace the Skydome with a brand new state-of-the-art stadium sometime in the next decade that will be, fancy and grass field and full of new amenities and replace all of the things that are bad about Skydome.
And I remember when the news came out, it touched off several emotions. For one, an actual ballpark in Toronto, that would be incredible. Wouldn't that be nice? Like, Skydome's been out of date since 1992 when Camden Yards opened and everyone went, shit, we could have done that.
Yeah, pretty much. Skydome was the last of its kind, and really that kind never should have been. The old concrete bowl that can shoot all kinds of things.
I get the purpose of serving both MLB and NFL stadiums from like a real estate point of view and from a time in America point of view, but think of it this way. Riverfront Stadium in Pittsburgh was for the Iron Curtain Steelers and the Willie Stargell Pirates. So again, like that cookie cutter stadium had good teams there. The Skydome was for the Blue Jays, sure, 2-time World Series winner, and the Argos. Okay, like not to rag on the Argos, they won a couple of Grey Cups in the 90s, and also the John Candy Grey Cup in the early 90s, but it's not the same type of, cachet or like...
Well, it always struck me as this, though. Baseball has a square-shaped kind of octagonal field, and football has a long and narrow field. They aren't even fields that are particularly similarly shaped, and yet we're cramming them into the same stadium.
It's like we're trying to play baseball in a polo ground. Wait a minute, where have I heard that before?
I'm not exactly sure.
I think we should also acknowledge that today's Take Your Muppet to Work Day. So for those of you who joined the visual portion, we are joined by a Muppet. And no, I'm not talking about myself for once.
For once. Hello, Scruffy.
Scruffy says hello. He's a bit camera shy. Also because I would need to drink water to have him talk. So it's one of those types of deals. Who the hell invited me on this show? Wow. Someone's a bit saucy this morning.
Yes, he is. So I mean, it will take a while. Obviously, it's complicated by the fact that Skydome's lands are owned by the Canadian Land Holding Corporation, which means that Rogers doesn't actually own the rights to where Skydome's land is. They just own the stadium itself, which means they need to negotiate a new land deal. They could, of course, build in the old docklands in Toronto. Lots of options, but of course, where they currently are is the best option. But they're saying by the end of the decade is what they hope to do. It would be really nice. It'd be really nice to have that new stadium.
It really would be. I still think a lakefront ballpark is both the best and worst idea, because at some point the corrosive acid of Lake Ontario will eat away at the left field bleachers and send the stadium sinking like the Lusitania.
Yeah, but it'll be fun while it lasts.
Right? It'll be fun to be there on that day, just like, all right, get the violinists on deck.
Da, 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 da. I've seen the movie Titanic a few too many times.
I've seen the Futurama episode Titanic too many times.
Ah, yes.
Yes, navigating through that asteroid field, like icebergs in space.
Yes, so it will definitely be a good idea. They'll definitely have a brand new nice stadium. Now, of course, we got the geniuses at the Toronto Sun saying that, no, Rogers should be investing in the baseball team, not a new stadium. Now, let's leave aside the fact that they're coming out of two separate not bank accounts, because it's all the Rogers account, two separate budgets, the stadium building budget and the baseball team budget. You don't think that a new stadium would allow them to maximize revenue for the baseball team, thereby allowing them to invest more in the baseball team? Come on, guys.
Just get the Willy Wonka meme of Gene Wilder just leaning on his hand, being like, "Tell me more about what you like to think." I mean, I won't even dignify their take with a response. It's asinine. Here's what I'm curious about, though. Who's paying for this stadium? I know it's hypothetical. It's 10 years in the making. But in my experience with professional sports team stadiums and Canadian real estate law, which I have more experience in than one might suspect, I know a Canadian real estate lawyer. That's my experience. Why do I have a bad feeling that this is going to come out of the province of Ontario's seemingly limited coffers?
Well, because literally every other stadium built in Toronto has, except for the, Scotiabank Arena. Now, according to planning, and of course this is incredibly preliminary planning, this is going to be entirely privately funded. So it would be Rogers and Brookfield paying for the whole thing out of pocket, and then of course owning the whole thing outright.
And not having to pay taxes.
Well, I mean, you have to pay your property taxes regardless of whether or not. But right. Wink. Yes.
Auditory medium. I got to say wink whenever I'm doing a wink.
Yes. Right. According to the plan, it would be entirely privately funded. Now, there might be like a bond issue by Rogers, and, who would buy a Rogers bond? Lots of investors. Or, you just see it on your Rogers bill, the stadium surcharge.
Oh, man. It's like, all right, so you got home phone, internet. Who's still paying for home phone? We got you there, jerks. And, stadium amenities and so forth. It's also, all this has also made me remember the days of $5 500 bowl seats and a lax policy on seat upgrades.
Oh, man, I remember those days. I remember the $81 500 bowl pass.
Oh, shit.
Where you weren't guaranteed seats, but if you showed up on game day with the pass and there were seats available, and there were always seats available because the team stunk back then, you could get a seat for $1.
And I love that, those are the nostalgia feelings that people have. It's like, hey, it may have been a toilet bowl, but it was our toilet bowl. We sat on it. We enjoyed it. It got us what we needed to do, as toilets do.
Yeah, and hey, when it was packed during those playoff runs in the mid 2010s, it
Yes.
was loud. It was intense in there.
And you could always have either a fantastic experience or a terrible experience. The one determining factor, whether the dome was open or not.
Yeah, that's for sure. It was an entirely different stadium with the dome open.
Oh man, it was so nice, and like you could breathe and you could see the sky and that big pointy thing. And when it was closed, it was like being steamed in your own shell. It was.
Yes, steamed in your own shell it was.
Oh man. And again, another big thing that people will remember about the Sky Dome. I mean, it's still going to be here for another 10, 12 years. And if I know anything about construction in the city of Toronto, new stadium will open in 2075. Concerts. So many, like, it was like such a like massive like arena venue for big touring shows.
Yeah. And that begs the question of, well, they're going to tear it down. Where are these huge touring shows going to go? I mean, there is the amphitheater, but that's not that level of huge. There
Yeah.
is Scotiabank, which is big, but it's a different level of big. And
Mm.
then, it's a baseball stadium, which is different than the Rogers Center, the Sky Dome. I'm not calling it the
Okay.
Rogers Center.
We will issue a formal apology after this podcast for that egregious blunder.
Yeah. I mean, you they have hosted the Dalai Lama there. You could
Yeah.
you could pack 100,000 people in standing room. You can't do that at a 30,000 seat baseball stadium. The new stadium will be far smaller and far more intimate.
Ooh, intimate. And again, I kind of want to go like portion by portion and not go full Texas Rangers on this and make every single square millimeter dedicated to Michael Young. But if you were to build a dream Toronto stadium, what are some of the features you would include?
Oh, a dream Toronto stadium. I mean, well, look, as much as I want it to be an open air grass stadium, I appreciate that it is built in Toronto and it needs to be convertible. But I want it to be convertible in such a sense that even when it's closed, it doesn't feel like you are being steamed in your own shell. You are. Um, I also don't want it to be when it's open that it still feels half closed. That was something that I always had with the dome, where it
Yeah,
was open, but you still saw half the dome.
like a
Convertible,
sunroof.
yeah, convertible like the stadium in Miami is, where it closes, but then when it opens all the way behind the plate, and you see the full sky. I'd also like to see it incorporate some of the architecture of Toronto into it. That old sandstone looking, um, some of that look.
Lots
Uh,
of brick.
Lots of brick, yeah. Maybe if they can make it look like old Maple Leaf Stadium
Yes.
that they had back at Christie. No, not at Christie Pitts.
On the island.
But not on the the one on the island was old,
Yeah.
but
They had like a roller coaster that burned down as the right field wall, I think.
yeah. But no, there was one. I think it was by Queens Quay, um,
Oh, right.
and if they could incorporate a look from that in, or and a little bit of glass and steel from the downtown, it could be a really nice looking stadium. I'd also like to see them incorporate some of the foods of Toronto into it. It's such
Yes.
a great culinary and microbrew city. Bring those people into the stadium. Give us food and drink options.
And we also need a gimmick. We need a home run gimmick. I mean, the Brewers have their slide. Also, the Brewers, great example of a roof closed, roof open setup. They have the slide. San Francisco has McCovey Cove. I don't think anyone should be hitting baseballs into Lake Ontario because it will start to bubble. But I'm thinking similar to what Houston has with the train. We get old TTC streetcar that whenever a home run hits just goes ding 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 ding.
That would be cool.
Right? And if you hit the streetcar, you win a free steak.
Hit it here. What a steak.
But yeah, I'm with you. Definitely needs grass. There should be it should look like Toronto, but not like the Toronto that a lot of us are familiar with, which is industrial parks and cement.
You mean like the Skydome looks?
Skydome, Woodbridge, Downsview, Toronto.
Like the downtown, which is where it will be.
Honestly, just rebuild Ebbets Field in Toronto. Like there's just
Well, that's what they did with Citi Field in Queens.
Yeah, and nothing went wrong there except for the past 10 Mets seasons.
Yep. Hey, they made the World Series in 2015.
Sure they did.
That World Series got canceled. Nobody made it because it was anti-fun.
Yeah, no one likes fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Skydome, it's been real. We'll still be there for the next decade and a half or more, but isn't it nice to dream?
It is nice to dream. It's also nice to dream on the fact that the Jays are aggressively pursuing high talent, big money free agents.
Which is a sentence I never thought I would hear. I mean, there's serious candidates for George Springer and beyond. JT Realmuto, who we were talking about, is that, there's no way they're going to get him, could conceivably be a Blue Jay.
Yeah, that'd be huge. Apparently, they're also in big on DJ LeMahieu, Colton Wong. Yeah, they are in serious conversations with essentially all of the big names.
And honestly, Colton Wong seems like the prototypical Jays guy, like early flash of potential in his career, sort of leveled off. Change of scenery could do him real good in Toronto. And he's athletic, good multi-position utility player. I think he would actually be like one of those okay, it's a smart move, it's not a flashy move type of pickups.
Yeah.
Which is why he should go to the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, keep dreaming, Ben.
I will.
Yeah, but it looks like the Jays will acquire one, if not more, of the big free agency names this year.
Unless they don't.
Well, a man can dream.
A man can dream. But it's nice to actually start to have baseball news start percolating again. I mean, for a while, we were just obsessing over whatever the hell the White Sox were doing with their front office and management team, and that gets tired after a while.
That does get tired after a while, but at least the Northsiders had some news last week, which of course we missed due to the impromptu hiatus. Theo's out.
Theo has handed over the reins to Jed York, and he is off to go save the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Hey, I would take it at this point. Theo's just busting curses left, right, and center. I'm surprised he didn't just suddenly show up in Cleveland, because that's the new curse center now.
I mean, Cleveland was never not the curse center.
I mean, when you have an ESPN 30 for 30 doc about how all of your teams are cursed, and then they had to change the ending because LeBron finally won.
Further proof that LeBron is greater than Cleveland.
LeBron is greater than Cleveland. But at least they're not Detroit.
They're not Detroit.
Man, do we keep hitting that every episode?
Well, I mean, think about it. We're both big fans of the American Midwest, of which Toronto is a proud member.
Yeah.
And I've spent enough time in both cities to be like, oh yeah, I get that reference.
Hey, Detroit is a proud rebuilding city.
I was there literally a year ago and had a great time. Their football team actually won that day.
Ooh.
I know, it's a rare phenomenon.
It's a very rare occurrence.
Phenomenon.
Phenomena.
Uh-huh. Right. My Muppet has informed me that that is actually a Muppet appropriation and we should cease and desist.
Ah. Sorry, Scruffy.
He does not forgive you.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. He forgives. He never forgets.
Oh, like an elephant.
Or David Ben-Gurion.
Ooh, deep cut.
Kind of looks like him though.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah, with the
Yeah, he's got the look.
yeah. So
This week in Blernsball, where we'll make obscure references and tangentially mention baseball.
that's essentially what we're doing. So
The Cubs.
speaking of the Cubs, I mean, they were set up to be the next great dynasty after that 2016 World Series win. And I mean, they've been okay, but they were supposed to have multiple championships right now. And they've got one, which I mean, most franchises would kill for.
They really did. There was murder. No one has seen Steve Bartman since 2003. Just saying. Really.
Yeah. They were supposed to have multiple championships. They were supposed to have with that core.
Mm-hmm.
And then they added to it. They brought in Yu Darvish.
Yeah.
They were supposed to be this unbeatable power. Chris Bryant.
Anthony
Rizzo. Javi Baez.
Yes.
Al
Hendricks. El Profesor.
Like, they have all the pieces.
Jon Lester was there for a while.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he helped them win the World Series. He had 2 wins in that series.
Just don't ask him to throw to first base and you're fine.
Yeah, you're fine. Grandpa Ross.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the manager now.
But has their window passed? I mean, look at the state of the NL Central. The Brewers have retooled in a heartbeat. The Cardinals seemingly never go away. Even Cincinnati, for all of their dysfunction, are competitive year in and year out. Pittsburgh, you can have Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think what really makes the difference is how much is the Ricketts family willing to spend? And this seems to be a recurring theme on This Week in Blernsball, going back to our very first episode.
Must crush capitalism?
Must destroy capitalism. There's the luxury tax hanging over everything, and it's acting as a kind of salary cap, where the Ricketts family desperately wants the Cubs to duck back under the luxury tax for 1 year so that they can avoid that repeater penalty. But that means they're looking at unloading guys like Darvish and Bryant before Bryant gets expensive, and before Darvish starts going downhill.
And they already stick-handled Bryant at the beginning of his career to squeeze out every possible year of control for the guy.
Yeah. I mean, he's a guy who was supposed to be a generational talent. Mm-hmm. Has he been a generational talent yet? Arguably not. But he's still been a pretty damn good talent. Rookie of the Year, MVP.
Guy can ball. And, I mean, I don't think it's going to be a Bryce Harper scenario where someone backs up the Brinks truck and he does just fine. I think someone's going to give him a a handsome reward, but a prove yourself type of contract, more in the ballpark of what JD Martinez got for the Red Sox. Great money for normal people, but kind of a show us what you got type of deal in the pro sports world.
Yeah, that's definitely possible, but I think the Cubs might trade him this year so that they can recoup some of the value. Entirely possible, Ben. Entirely possible.
It could happen. And that's when I start thinking, where do we put Chris Bryant at Fenway Park? You put him on the friggin' field is where you put him, because that would suddenly make all of the self-inflicted suffering of the Boston Red Sox somewhat more palatable. Not completely, but we're getting there.
Yeah. Now, I think what might end up happening is they package Bryant with Darvish, similar to how the Red Sox packaged Mookie with Price, trying to increase your return for the bad contract.
And how did that work out?
Exactly. Now, who I'd like to see get in on that? The Jays.
Okay, but you're going to have to give away one of your children.
Would you, though? Because the Cubs want prospects. You're only getting Bryant on a single-year contract. Darvish is expensive. You're willing to take on all of Darvish's salary.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not saying you're getting it for Jeter Downs.
Hey, we're keeping Jeter Downs. He may possibly do something, perhaps one day, maybe.
Maybe. Perhaps. But you could be getting it for not a significant return. It wouldn't have to be one of the chosen ones. It wouldn't have to be a Nate Pearson, but it could be I don't know. I'm trying to think my way through the Jays prospect pool here, and I'm drawing a blank.
All right, then let me propose something that will make you somersault out of your chair. I think the Jays should seriously consider using Kevin Biggio as a bishop on the chessboard.
I mean, if using Kevin Biggio means you can get Chris Bryant, I think you do it.
I mean, and that's nothing against Biggio. He is an exciting young player. He also is part of a logjam. I mean, again, this is me speaking dispassionately as an outside observer on the Blue Jays. I think that he is a guy you could potentially move and not feel awful about.
Yeah. I mean, I'd rather use him in a Lindor trade.
That's right, because once again, we're going back to Cleveland. Francisco Lindor could be dealt by the time we publish this podcast, which, again, things that happen on this podcast, we talk about all these wonderful hypotheticals, and then reality sets in.
Yeah. I mean, I'd rather use Biggio in a Lindor trade. I mean, there's Alex Manoah, who's a big arm, but several years away. He could be part of a big trade. There's a couple of good infield prospects who could be part of those trades. I have no idea what could happen. Ideally, I'd like to keep all of the big league pieces together because they're part of this core that they're building around. But if Biggio is that pull the pin to get it done kind of piece, yeah, I'd do it.
And that's what makes this week so important, because we have reached the non-tender deadline. Tenders. It's a Recess reference for all of you 90s kids. So we're going to start seeing moves coming in quick once this non-tender deadline passes. And right away, we already seeing some interesting moves coming out of the AL Central. Kansas City's bringing back Mike Minor and signing Michael A. Taylor from Washington. So the Kansas City rebuild is on, and those are both good, complementary guys. They're also real baseball moves that we need to talk about on a show about Muppets.
It's time to play the music.
It's time to light the lights.
Yeah. So Kansas City doing Kansas City things. They were a fun team in those mid-2000 runs, back-to-back World Series years, obviously losing one in heartbreaking fashion and then winning one rather convincingly. Oh, is he stinking beard kid?
The 9 Mets are my favorite squadron.
I still maintain that was not a home run.
And yet it was.
I will take that to my grave that kid reached over the wall.
Man, if they didn't get the guy that gave Jeter a home run in the 90s, I mean, I've been there. Trust me, I've been there on bogus interference and obstruction. I mean, is it really obstruction if the guy falls on top of you?
Yes.
Shit.
I guess.
Damn it. But yeah, I mean, isn't that fun about sports where seemingly somehow we actually can make a difference in the outcome of games and not face repercussions?
Right? Except for, getting thrown out.
Yeah, but he keeps the baseball.
He keeps the baseball and he gets interviewed on Fox.
And he gets to grow a mustache one day. I'm just kidding about that last part.
He's Amish. They're not allowed to grow mustaches.
I don't think he was. I think he just couldn't grow a mustache.
Yeah.
Oh man, speaking of people who can't grow things, the Philadelphia Phillies cannot grow a payroll. They reportedly lost $145 million last year.
I mean, I think every team lost money last year.
Complaining about it is the problem.
Yes. Yeah, I think last year was a year where it was you were going to take your lumps. Hopefully, your TV contract helped you make back some, if not some of it. Um,
We're
but
still
if you had a big payroll, it was bad.
Yeah, and the minor leagues are still in like dire straits of like who the hell knows what's going to happen with
Who
them,
knows if there's going to be a minor leagues this season?
which is still like awful. And you again, like it's a core foundational piece of the professional baseball structure on this continent. Like that, the impact on so many people's livelihoods is it's literally uncalculable because we're not good at math.
Yeah. Now, what is promising is there are now 3 vaccines in play.
Oh right, that's still going on.
Yes. What is promising is Dr. Fauci, the Fauci,
Ouch.
said that he anticipates that sports will be able to welcome back approaching full capacity crowds by midsummer.
In America.
In America. Now, that's assuming that there is a good rollout and people actually take the vaccine.
Oh right, these things, this shit isn't mandatory.
Right? But that means that if we're seeing sports welcome back crowds sometime this summer, I would see the minor leagues being able to operate. It would have to be underwritten.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But would major league teams take that 1 year of underwriting it? Would the federal government take that 1 year of underwriting it? Do local governments say, well, it's such a big part of our local business that we take that?
I mean, we are like there are reports coming of a near 1 trillion stimulus that could be coming for the United States. That money goes to every facet of the country. I would have to assume that if you categorize yourself as a local business that has like deep roots in the community, as a lot of minor league teams can claim, I can see that being somewhat of a salve for all of this.
Yeah, I could. I don't know if it would fix everything, but it would definitely help.
Nothing. It's game over, man. Like I say we load up on beans and cat food and find the nearest bunker.
Yeah. Remember, if you store your beans in small increments, they can't steal all of them.
Is that what Humphrey Bogart was talking about with the whole hill of beans thing?
I think so.
Yeah, well, he had his shit figured out, so yeah, we're quite literally in the winter now, and we're all very discontented, and the only thing we're holding on to hope for is that they don't fuck up the jerseys any more than Nike is already trying to.
Yes. Please don't. Please don't.
You know what would be fun, though? I kind of want to see teams return to V-necks.
Huh. They'd have to be pullovers then.
Yeah, I see no problem with that. And if you look at some of Nike's college offerings, they maintain the semblance of the baseball placket, but the buttons stop like just with one button near the collar. So Nike has done that in college.
They're a little more experimental in college, shall we say.
I mean, who wasn't, right?
Heyo.
Heyo. I'm talking about, like going into your science laboratory and mixing things, not anything else.
Of course.
But yeah, I mean, of all the major sports, and this isn't just because I rewatched George Carlin's first SNL monologue outlining the differences between football and baseball.
Great bit.
Right? I mean, it's like Football, you wear a helmet. Baseball, you wear a cap.
In football, you fumble. In baseball, you make an error.
So go watch that. But I think the 70s had it right in terms of where, with improved technology, baseball could go now. No belts with clasps, no buttons on shirts, and everything more form-fitting with the highest tech material possible. I mean, I know this is all completely hypothetical, but you know what removing buttons also does?
What?
It makes room for ads.
Oh boy. I mean,
I mean,
they're going that way.
yeah, it's especially where you can now claim we lost $140 million this year. We need to make it back somehow.
Yeah.
This is just like me getting a bad feeling about this.
Got a bad feeling about this. Yeah, no, they definitely seem to be going in that direction. I mean, the NBA's already done it.
Mhm.
I would not be surprised to see the NHL follow suit, and then to see MLB follow suit soon after that.
I mean, the NFL already sponsors everything. I mean, why not the uniforms?
Well, the NFL already has sponsors on the uniforms for practice jerseys. They're just a hop, skip, and a jump away.
Yeah, and again, like the fact that like people are actively covering NFL practices is like kind of a win for the advertisers. It's like, oh shit, this wasn't such a dumb idea after all.
Yep.
Oh man. But enough about baseball. Let's talk about Sean Connery.
Yes, let's talk about Sean Connery, or more accurately, his spiritual son, Nick Cage. It's Cage's Corner.
Yes, it is. We are talking about one of the most versatile, and by that I mean somehow great and somehow terrible actors, Nick Cage.
Nick Cage, good or bad?
Again, another great bit that you should all absolutely watch because
I'm a cat. I'm a sexy cat.
I also rewatched Con Air over the weekend. It does not hold up, but it is fun.
Yes, it is. So this week, we're discussing what is arguably Nick Cage's best movie, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
But this was not what we agreed upon in the notes.
Yes, it is.
I'm just fucking with you. Yes, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which is honestly the best Spider-Man movie ever made.
Yeah, quite arguably.
And also the John Mulaney movie ever made.
Well, I mean, not a high bar to clear for John Mulaney. So Cage has a relatively minor role. He plays Spider-Man Noir, the Spider-Man who comes from the universe where it's 1936. He uses a gun. He punches Nazis, and the wind where he goes, the wind follows.
So pretty much 2020.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love how they absolutely nailed the multiverse, like the concept of a multiverse, and each universe's Spider-Man could stand on their own as a standalone Spider-Man character. I mean, my personal favorite, for obvious reasons, is Peter B. Parker, played by Jake Johnson, because when I grow up, I want to be Nick Miller. Oh God, I already am.
Pretty much. I like the insinuation that Peter B. Parker is Jewish.
Just a mild insinuation, and he's also from Chicago.
Yeah.
Oh man, but that was an amazing movie. I mean, Mahershala Ali as Miles's uncle, fantastic. I mean, you had Brian Tyler Henry as Miles's dad. I mean, Miles Morales, like if why can't the next, like, again, we now have a definitive Miles Morales Spider-Man movie. With apologies to Donald Glover, he would have been great in the live action one, and he could have been the tie-in when he made his Spider-Man guest appearance.
Yeah. Well, he actually still could, because he references having a nephew.
There you go, Easter eggs left, right, and center, like a tiny little frog eating a macaron.
Yes. Speaking of which,
Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda! He has a name!
Whoa.
Stereo.
I know, right? We're still calling him Baby Yoda, though.
Yes, even though he's got a name, Goru.
I thought it was Grogu.
Grogu, yes, my mistake. Grogu.
Avatar Grogu.
We're still calling him Baby Yoda.
Because, I mean, Grogu eats cookies and then vomits all over the Razor Crest. Not as fun as, oh, Baby Yoda ate the cookie and then he puked everywhere.
Yeah. Also, he's not a baby. He's like 50 years old.
Is he, though? Is he?
Well, I mean, Yoda's species does live exceptionally long, so it would make sense that they age exceptionally slowly.
Yeah, so gestation-wise, we can get at least 10 seasons of The Mandalorian and he'll still be a baby before getting to angsty teen Groot phase.
Angsty teen Yoda?
Ooh.
Talk
Would
to
that
you.
be fun?
I do not want.
Unfair life is. Going to my room, I am. Also,
And then just My Chemical Romance starts playing, but the lyrics are all weird.
oh, God. Yoda jargon, My Chemical Romance would be the greatest, most terrible thing ever.
Yeah.
But back to Spider-Verse. Again, best depiction of Kingpin throughout the Marvel universe.
Hold on.
Hey,
including the one in Daredevil, Vincent D'Onofrio?
Hey, I am putting him in league with Daredevil, Vincent D'Onofrio, because, you know, Vincent D'Onofrio, like, again, if they just, because Daredevil's in trouble of being canceled, apparently.
Got canceled.
Oh, fuck.
All of the MCU shows got canceled.
How? I mean,
they're bringing everything in-house into Disney Plus.
Does that mean Vincent D'Onofrio could be in a movie one day?
It does.
Ooh. I mean, D'Onofrio in a movie, that would change the game from Kingpin in Spider-Verse. But right now, I have him with The Crown and D'Onofrio plotting his revenge, as he should be.
As he should be, as he always should be. Yeah, but that was definitive portrayal of Prowler. That was a terrific portrayal of Miles Morales, although perhaps rivaled by the portrayal of Miles Morales in Spider-Man Miles Morales, the new video game.
Oh, shit. PS5, people. We are not sponsored by them, but go buy it.
Yeah, I mean, if you can find one, because they are incredibly difficult to find.
Or are they? I'm totally not Googling where to buy one.
You can't.
But yeah, so for a whole generation of kids and fans, Shameik Moore is Miles Morales, and he did a killer job of it. Also, we've gone this whole time without talking about Spider-Gwen!
Spider-Gwen! Oh my gosh.
Oh, she is badass.
Again, she is so badass.
Killer cast. I was going to say killer staff. Like
that too.
Yeah.
And also, that was Lord and Miller who wrote it.
Again, Clone High is the definitive point of popular culture in this century.
Yeah. Can we get them to write a Star Wars movie?
Ooh. Didn't they try that?
Oh, yeah, they were supposed to do the Han Solo one, and then they got kicked off it.
Hi, I'm Ron Howard. Out of the way, Potsy. Stupid Potsy. All right, so Spider-Verse. How are we ranking it?
Oh, shoot. This is a tough one.
I'm going to go 4 out of 2 Jordan 1's original colorway rendered in perfect animation.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I'm going to give it 6 out of 5 multiverses.
Ooh. Especially for the end where they actually do the meme.
Yeah. This is too visual for a podcast.
It's also the best Oscar Isaac movie ever.
That's right.
He was Spider-Man 2099. Or 25, whatever year he's from.
Yeah. Also, Chris Pine's in it.
Yeah, as Peter A. Parker. Also, Liev Schreiber's in it. The best Liev Schreiber movie.
There's an incredible voice cast in it.
Haley Steinfeld. There you go. Lily Tomlin was Doc Ock.
Right?
Because of course she was. Whoa, think about it. Multiverse is a sequel to 9 to 5. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Think about it. After all of the adventures she goes through with Dolly Parton and Jane Fonda, she goes crazy.
She breaks bad.
Yeah.
Now, I can't wait for the Spider-Verse sequel.
Into the multiverse?
Into the multiverse. Or where they explore the really crazy Spider-Verse shit.
What's crazier than a wisecracking porcine superhero? Two wisecracking
porcine superheroes?
Spider-Pig does
whatever a Spider-Pig does. Wait, so, they're both owned by Disney now. It could happen. It could happen.
Everything is owned by Disney now. And they saw it coming. They called it, man.
They did.
Should we talk about baseball for another second just to maintain the conceit of this show? Because I have a really good classic game of the week.
Go right ahead.
Oh, man. So I am paying some overdue homage, however we pronounce it, to Red Sox icon Jim Rice. I am going with October 10th, 1980. Nope, not October 10th. What the hell, computer? Ruining everything. October 15th, 1986. Game 7 of the 1986 ALCS. California Angels, Boston Red Sox. Jim Rice's 3-run home run, literal light tower power. He Roy Hobbs'd it at Fenway over the monster to help the Red Sox win the American League pennant that year. And again, a guy who took way too long to get into the Hall of Fame. I have a bone to pick with you sabermetrics nerds. I myself am one of them. But again, this guy was one of the Gold Dust twins. I said dust, not bust. We'll get to those later. Him and Freddie Lynn were left in center, and then you had Dwight Evans in right field. That was like an insane Red Sox outfield in the 70s and 80s. 1978 MVP. I mean, this guy was a great ball player, deserved Hall of Famer, and a guy that, isn't talked about enough. So, Jim Rice, this is your moment. I mean, he also made it to the real Baseball Hall of Fame and is well respected and literally saved a child's life one game. So he doesn't need me vouching for him, but it's nice to give a shout out to the best 14, other than Ernie Banks and anyone else who wore 14, who's also great, but he was pretty great.
There are a lot of greats that wore the number 14. I am going to go with August the 17th, 2001. It's an obscure game.
Yes, it is.
Jeff Fry of the Blue Jays hit for the cycle that day. Jeff Fry only played 74 games for the Blue Jays. He hit for the cycle, becoming only the second Blue Jay ever to hit for the cycle. Kelly Gruber, who was the first Blue Jay to hit for the cycle, we didn't know he was a terrible person yet then, happened to be there that game.
Gruber. So, couple things. Is the J in Philip J. Fry for Jeff?
No. What? Maybe.
Not sure if brilliant or stupid.
I saw the most meta one. Not sure if meme or image with text on it. Whoa.
Wow, Jeff Fry. That is a name I have not heard in a very long time for obvious reason. I forgot he had hit a cycle.
Right? I mean, it shows just a random dude, if he gets it on the right day, can hit for the cycle. And it just so happened Kelly Gruber was there that day and then walked out on the field to congratulate him.
Remember when you could actually walk onto fields?
Yeah.
Those were the days. And this was at the Sky Dome.
Yes, when it was it still the Sky Dome back then? Yes, it was.
You know who also hit a cycle at the Sky Dome? Mookie Betts. Oh.
Oh,
I was
Mookie.
there. It was fun. And then they traded him.
Womp womp. I was there the day Rajai Davis hit a reverse cycle at the Dome, and Cleveland still lost.
Because Cleveland.
That was the year that Cleveland went to the World Series.
Wow. Wait, so reverse cycle is
Home
that
run in his first at bat, triple in his second at bat, double in his third at bat, single in his fourth at bat.
I thought a reverse cycle was caught swinging, caught looking, caught stealing, and ground into double play.
I mean, that would be a reverse cycle. That would be the sucker cycle. No, he hit a cycle in reverse order, and Cleveland lost something like 14-7.
Didn't Cleveland and Toronto play like a crazy Canada Day game that lasted like 20 innings and everyone got thrown out for fighting each other?
That was the day before this game. So it was July 2nd, 2016, that Davis hit the crazy cycle.
Yeah, because everyone was hungover.
Yeah, pretty much. And I was at both of those games.
How were you not hungover?
I was.
Yay, hangovers! Episode title, Yay, hangovers.
Hey, hangovers. Shall we discuss our classic Futurama episodes of the week?
Yes, we shall. Have we already done a Flight to Remember?
We have not.
I am picking A Flight to Remember, the straight-up rip-off of Titanic, or should I say, the straight-up improvement on Titanic.
Yeah, it was an improvement on Titanic.
22-minute runtime, automatically better than 4 hours and emotions. It had Bender as DiCaprio somehow. It, of course, had the classic, Fry pretend to be Amy's boyfriend to make Amy's parents jealous, but also pretend to be Leela's boyfriend to keep Zach away from her. It also had my favorite Love Boat reference in pop culture with the Isaac. You got it. I knew that before I knew what the hell the Love Boat was.
Man, I still don't know what the Love Boat was.
Oh, man. So think Fantasy Island, but on a boat. So instead of saying deplane, it's deboat.
Deboat.
I don't think Hervé Villechaize was on Love Boat. Maybe he was. Who knows? It was a weird time, but great opening theme. Love, exciting and new. It was about swinging on a boat.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So do not think it holds up now, but that episode does. Because Bender, in a selfless moment, is vulnerable with the Countess instead of trying to steal her diamond, which turned out to be a fake. So, everyone loses.
Everybody loses. I've chosen Season 5's Obseletely Fabulous.
Oh, where Bender turns into a wooden robot.
They must learn our ways of peace by force.
Oh, and he's like water-powered?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And it turns out it was all in his head while he was getting an upgrade.
Oh, yeah, to, fall in love with the TX-1000, who I think that was a Phil Lamar voice, because the robot sounded exactly like Jon Stewart.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Phil Lamar.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And of course, it had Roberto.
Yeah, of course it had Roberto. They completely changed his personality.
You're not made of Tuesday.
I still love they had the robot on the island who had the voice tapes, the voice cartridges. What?
Oh, man. The show still holds up.
The show definitely still holds up.
Unlike Love Boat.
Doesn't it? Does it? No. No, it doesn't.
We figured it out from an episode of Speed Buggy. Just high-five the Muppet.
Just high-five the Muppet. No, you know what does hold up? Knight Rider.
Knight Rider. A man in a car against all the odds. But who's the villain tonight on Knight Rider?
Man, the Hoff was in a lot of bad shows.
He really was. But that was not one of them. Because that car was a sassy car.
Yep.
Also, Knight Rider versus Herbie. Who wins?
Well, I mean, Herbie's smart enough to dodge all of Knight Rider's weapons, but Knight Rider is smart enough to outsmart Herbie.
but Buddy Hackett is driving Herbie. Think about that.
But David Hasselhoff is driving Kit.
Or is Kit driving David Hasselhoff?
Whoa!
Yeah, that's the whole point. Knight Rider was David Hasselhoff all along. What?
What? Yes, that's what it was, because he was Michael Knight.
Oh, right, the car was Kit. So what was TC doing in the chopper? So today on 1970s and 1980s television shows, we have kind of gone off the rails, so we should get the fuck out of here.
Let's go. So you can find us wherever you find your favorite podcasts or your least favorite podcasts, but don't find your least favorite podcast with us. So we're on iTunes, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, pretty much anywhere that podcasts are found. If you like us, give us 5 stars and a good review, because that helps other people find the podcast.
And if you want more of the Muppet, you can let us know on Twitter. You can follow us at TWI Blernsball. Please tell me I got that right.
You got that right.
Fucking A. Or you can follow us personally at JMS Morris or at Benjamin K. Bloom. The Muppet is not on Twitter yet. But if you want more Muppet, just say the word and we will not listen, because it's the Muppet's decision. The Muppet has autonomy.
The Muppet does have autonomy. Scruffy is his own person. Thank you, Scruffy. You can also follow us on Instagram. We're at TWI Blernsball. We don't post that much, but that's because we're both ugly.
You're talking about the Muppet and me, aren't you?
No, I'm talking about you and me. Come on. Does anybody really want to see this? Are you voguing?
Are you not?
Fair enough. So I think that brings us to the end of this week in Blernsball. For all of us here, I'd just like to say thank you so much for listening. And, oh, damn it, I stole your line.
I'm sending my Muppet after you. Farewell from the world of tomorrow.
Coming up next week on This Week in Blernsball.
Why the hell did we have that dumb Muppet there? Wait, what?
Oh my God, should I do something? Should I do something?